Hi, and welcome to Not Crap, the semi-in-depth analytical series where I take a thing and I try to convince you why it's not crap. It's kind of in the title. You can probably figure that out on your own. The whole toy-based video games gimmick was kind of a fad that lasted from the early 2010s up until around the past year or two, as both Disney Infinity and LEGO Dimensions, two of the largest, shut down within that period. They just weren't very profitable and cost Disney a good $100 million down the tube. Towards the end of its lifetime, I got the entirety of Disney Infinity for Xbox 360 plus two figures for less than $2. I'm not even kidding. And this stuff is apparently pretty resource intensive to produce, hence why only these gargantuan companies were even able to attempt this sort of thing. The only two that have currently persevered onwards are the Skylanders series and Nintendo's line of Amiibos. I bet you can't guess which one we're going to be talking about today based on the title. Amiibos have been pretty much a universal success and are going on more strongly now than ever before. But why have they risen above when so many others have failed so phenomenally? Today we'll be discussing the amazing quality and horrible business model of Amiibo. Hello, I'm Michael, and this is Not Crap. Now, I only own two of these things, and one of them is only because I was doing research for this review and saw this Wedding Peach Amiibo and went, oh my god, I have to have that. And immediately purchased it because I'm a man-child with no impulse control. Also because I just happened to find a $25 Amazon gift card in my wallet, but shh, the joke is that I'm physically irresponsible. But why did I have such a visceral reaction to this actual literal piece of plastic mass-produced by a multi-billion-dollar company? Well, Nintendo markets their figures to the collector market better than most. More on that later. Most of these companies appealed more to the child demographics by having the toys interact with the game. But here's the thing. People who are going to buy Amiibos aren't going to be little kids. They're going to be the adults with way too much disposable income.
A lot of you guys don't know this. I have an Amiibo collection. Peach, Bowser, Mario. And now I got Angry Robo. I got Angry Robo to go with the bunch.
LEGO actually did well with both of these too, but they failed for other reasons that I'll get more into later. Nintendo was smart enough to make them versatile enough for kids, but adults are the real market, I think. I don't know about you, but most kids that I know don't give a rat's behind about toys unless they can actually, be played with. Amiibos are basically just statues, and the most fun your kid is going to have with it is by playing the game, how much of this can I fit in my mouth? A big contribution to this is due to the age of Nintendo's characters. Kids growing up in the 80s and 90s, having lived and breathed Mario, Zelda, and Kirby for the past 20 or 30 years, are perfect for having their nostalgia exploited. It's the entire reason they started this line of pixelated Amiibos. Of course, nostalgic parents aren't the main contributors to Amiibo's massive popularity. Nintendo does this really terrible thing where they never put out enough of a product to meet demand. I don't know if that's just because they're trying to raise demand, or if it's just because they're as bad as gauging product interest as they are as making their online work well. He did not just say that. Either way, the result is that scalpers and collectors are foaming at the teeth for a chance to grab up all of the stock. Imagine that you have two college students that you start for 3 weeks and you toss a half-eaten bologna sandwich in between them. Then you give them steroids. That's what that is. It got to the point where someone stole an entire truckload of Splatoon Amiibo back in 2015. Like, how do you even go about trying to sell that much Amiibo without raising suspicion? Maybe they're the new currency being used in black market trades or something. Imagine the Hummels episode of South Park, but instead replace every little Hummel statue with Amiibo. Scalpers are generally just trying to collect the rare ones to sell them off at ridiculous prices. And the collectors of the world usually want them to complete the set, just want to own something of great value or rarity, or they just like the look of them. That last one's me. I think that one of the main pulls of the Amiibo line is just because they're so well designed. They're really great at capturing the style of the game they represent, and they're surprisingly good quality for their price. Honestly, I didn't even know or care about the in-game effects of either of these Amiibos before I bought them. I just thought they looked cool. Turns out that this wedding dress Peach Amiibo
that I love more than any child I will ever have
is the most overpowered power-up grinding tool in Mario Odyssey, basically just lets you beat the entire game for free. Plus it gets you this adorable Mario wedding outfit. Oh, it's so sweet. Now Mario is finally dressed to go marry Bowser. That's topical. The construction and design on this thing is gorgeous. Her dress and gloves have this weird shimmery paint that gives it a metallic, fantastical vibe. Her dress and veil are made of the semi-translucent plastic with glitter sprinkled in. Her sculpt is great and is a perfect representation of the character. Oh my god, I just love her outfit so much with the crown and the necklace and little earrings. I'm such a manly guy. Pose is also similar to the ending cutscene of Mario Odyssey and honestly gives her so much more character. This is pretty much a staple of Amiibos. While some are just standing there and being passive, a lot of the time the characters are given iconic poses taken directly from their games. Okay, my favorite thing on the Amiibo section of the Nintendo website is how they display the Urbosa Amiibo from Breath of the Wild. They have her displaying backwards despite the fact that her figure is facing forwards in the box. I guess they didn't want the display image showing her from the front since most of her midriff is showing, and God knows that Nintendo doesn't have underclothed women in there. The packaging for Amiibos is also really dope. They've got this extruded plastic cube on the front of the package so that you can see the figure from every angle to assure that you're getting a high quality product. The back piece, while simple, usually includes a render or drawn art piece of the character in the pose that you see in the figure. Here it looks like Peach is staring down at herself and going, "Oh wow, it's me." It also makes it easy to compare and contrast the accuracy of the figure that you're buying. It's stylistically consistent with the game that it's from, all the way from the font to the images used. The back of the packaging is pretty lame, but most of the time you're going to be looking at it anyways, so we're just going to prop that up against the wall and pretend that it left to the hell realm. The universal utility of Amiibos also make them stand out among the rest. LEGO Dimensions, Skylanders, and Disney Infinity had cool figures, but they all only worked with one game that was usually terrible. And the adapter made for the game only had one use case. The first-party support backing Amiibo meant that they could be used in whatever game Nintendo wanted, and that the contact point could be kept somewhere on the console. Even if I have an Amiibo for Splatoon, I can still use it in Breath of the Wild or Odyssey and get some additional free items. They don't have any limit either, so if you really wanted to, you could just tap the same Amiibo to the device for a few hours to grind out coins. Anyways, the fact that Amiibos work on any system from the 3DS onwards make their usefulness basically infinite. It's cool that I could go out and buy an Amiibo for a 3DS game, skip over the Wii U and its weird clunky and blocky design. Seriously, that thing is the video game console equivalent of me in middle school. I go straight to the Switch and hey, it still works. It's reassuring to know that an investment you made half a decade ago will still have use years down the line. It's the reason the games like Minecraft and Overwatch have worked for so long. You're buying it with the expectation that it's going to continue to improve for years to come. The new Smash Bros. Even has support for every Amiibo for the characters in the game, even if they're not from the Smash Bros. Amiibo line. Which means that both the Splatoon Girl and Wedding Dress Peach will get some use in Smash Ultimate. That's a good boy, Nintendo. Good boy. I hope they expand this to account for other games, because as it stands, some Amiibos of specific characters don't do anything besides what the standard non-related Amiibos do. Look, I paid $12.99 for this hunk of plastic embedded with an RFID chip, and I'm gonna get more than my money's worth, dang it! Plus, Amiibos are only supplementary and aren't necessary to play the game. Alright guys, check out all the stuff I can do in Mario Odyssey without this Amiibo in play. Now, I mean, you could go across this bridge the boring way by ground pounding this button and then just walking across super slowly, or you could do the super epic Michael technique where you ground pound, jump, throw over your hat, and then, oh. That, boom. Easy as that, baby. Simple as pie. If I went out and purchased the LEGO game for $60 full when it came out, I'd still have to purchase more characters if I wanted to play the game's full roster. Plus, character packs for LEGO Dimensions were crazy expensive, and the only way I could afford these was because of the Toys R Us going on a business sale. Gone but not forgotten, my sweet, beautiful angel. I love you. Okay, editor's note here. As I was recording the audio for this video, I recorded a rough draft earlier this week, 2 days ago, and now I'm coming back and I'm recording the real audio, and Toys R Us just announced that they're going to be opening back up. So, I guess not gone, and not forgotten. Okay then. Amiibos, however, give you advantages like power-ups and random item chests, but I don't need to go buy a Yoshi Amiibo to play as Yoshi in the new Mario Party. But if I do buy the Amiibo, I get this cool little hat for Yoshi. Look at him with this little hat. The choice of stylization over accuracy is probably why LEGO Dimensions didn't last with its brand recognizability. As much as I like the super stylized figures like the ones produced by Nendoroid, it's nice to have an inexpensive figure line that actually visually fit with the style of the IP they come from. Look at the difference between Bowser from the Mario Bros. Line and the Bowser from the Smash Bros. Line. They almost look like different characters. Also, weird side note, both Bowser and DK showed up in Skylanders at one point, so yeah, that was weird. Although it does show the clear difference in quality and design for both companies. While the Amiibos don't look visually consistent when set next to each other, people would rather have figures that look like the IP they're from than have them look like each other. Well, most people anyways. Hey guys, here I am setting up my Amiibo shelf, and I'm thinking maybe I'll put up my Shovel Knight Amiibo. Yeah, that looks good. And then next to that, we'll plop in my Mario Amiibo. Oh, also looking so good. And then next to that, let me think. Oh yeah, I'm going to drop in my Dark Souls, Bayonetta, and Cloud Strife figures. In what world do we live? I really like the specialty figures that they put out for each of the games. Even if it's just a basic variant, it's nice to see these changes represented in figure form. For example, when are we ever going to see Bowser in a wedding outfit, a yarn version of Yoshi and Poochie, or Bayonetta ever represented in Nintendo figures again? Also, I imagine having your figures be based on certain iterations of the characters probably helps with marketing a lot. They also don't reserve Amiibos for purely Nintendo series, giving Chibi Robo, Praise the Sun, Cloud, and even indie game characters like Shovel Knight their own Amiibos is a smart way of widening their appeal. They even made a friggin' cereal box into an Amiibo, what, how, why? Amiibos are also much higher quality and are made of more expensive and hardy materials. Like, I've dropped both of these things way more times than I'd like to admit, and they're both still going strong.
I don't know what I'd do with myself if anything happened to my waifus.
Really, most of what I like about Amiibos comes down to their aesthetic. I hope that these keep being made, and I hope that they maintain compatibility with consoles in the future. While I absolutely hate the business model that Nintendo has gone forward to sell units, there's no denying the great craftsmanship put into these things. Plus, really their business model is the best of the worst, as the rest of these companies have even worse business models. Thank you, Nintendo, for giving us such a variety of high quality and mostly affordable figures. Now give me Mario Maker Switch before I cut your nipples off!